All right, Cancer, hello. Hopefully you can hear and see me. Good to see all of you today. I was just taking a look at the main YouTube page. I think once this has gone live, this may be the 1000th video that I've done. I'll be doing an impromptu probably on the weekend to celebrate that, maybe on Saturday. So make sure that you've enabled your notifications and we'll do something special on the weekend. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This little furry assistant here is Apollo, and welcome to your monthly forecast. We're going to be looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks. A reminder that you can always use this for your sun, rising, and also for your moon sign. And basically here you've got the whole format. Let me put down the puppy here so we can chat. There you go, babe. Okay, so let's talk. Again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're looking at Cancer, Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. And the format's right here. We're going to take a look at channeled messages at the beginning. I had some really interesting dreams last night surrounding clarification and also sort of like letting things go. So we'll talk about that. Came in the form of salt, of all things, but more to come in just a moment. Channeled messages, again, me decoding dreams and also messages when I get ready to set up this reading for you. And it's basically me working with my guides. After we do that, we'll take a look at the Celtic Cross and the expanded forecast. And the Celtic Cross takes any shape it needs to. The expanded forecast will focus specifically in certain areas like health, wealth, love, and destiny. Then we'll take a look at the big idea, something to really help us focus on being successful in the next month ahead. And then after that, we'll get a little bit more interactive, take a look at some blessings and blocks, things to embrace, some things to avoid. Also, we'll look at viewer's choice and reader's choice at that point. I'll give you a chance to vote on something. And then at the very end, I always like to wrap things up with a meditation and a chance for you to focus on something that you need clarity on. So I don't take live questions just as a proactive answer to that. But if there is something that's on your mind and you need clarity on, if you meditate at the end, I'll pull a card and give you some advice based on what I'm picking up on, okay? So that's how things are organized today. And a couple of quick notes here. If you have any questions as to like where we're at in the reading or where to find something, Maria is the moderator today and she'll be happy to help you out with that. If you'd like to show some support, the single best way to do that is to subscribe if you've never done it. And once per video, you can hit the like button or that thumbs up. And that just helps YouTube share this with other people. It says, hey, this is a good video. So subscribe is completely free. I wish YouTube would rename it to just follow or like, but that's basically the word they chose. And that's all it means is that you want to see my stuff on your main page. That's it. Okay, so if you've never subscribed, please do that. If you want some information about my schedule, this is the link. I also pinned it in the comment up above. And social platforms, if you ever want to follow me, here are all of my official links. You know, one place where I constantly see people pretending to be me, but they're not me, is Instagram. I love it, but if it's not spelled like my name, completely like you see right there, it's not me. I'll never directly message you, and I don't offer private readings. So if anyone sends a friend invite, is offering you something, or communicating off this sort of live platform or Instagram live, you know it's not me. So I just like to remind folks of that. And if you just like to show some support here in real time so I can see it and help me do more videos and get more supplies, then you can do that through SuperStickers and SuperChat, and there's a quick way to do it, okay? So there you go. We're gonna talk now about the channeled messages. As I said, it'll be the first piece. So give me 1 second to get that set up. Again, channeled messages come through as I focus on things that came through in my dreams. And again, last night there was something sort of magical coming through where for me it was almost like, it reminded me of the Wizard of, it was the Wizard of Oz, right? Where the witch, I think it was water that killed her. In this case, I was seeing someone in your life that was negative and it was salt water. I saw you adding salt to the water and kind of like sprinkling, and it wasn't like you had to douse them, but then they disappeared or morphed into someone else or put their energy and attention towards someone else. So we'll talk about salt and the magic of salt here in just a second. Let me get the presentation set up so we can begin. All right, so as I said, today we're going to be talking about salt and then also sort of leaks, whether it's like a leaky roof or an energetic leak or a time leak. All of this kind of comes together. There's an opening that needs to sort of be closed. Let's just talk about salt first and foremost. It's one of the most common minerals on the earth. We need it to live. By the way, it's something that human beings need, but too much is bad, too little is bad as well. There are both the salt in the water that would be sort of like sodium chloride, but then you can also have rock salt that's present on the earth as well. So it comes in several different forms. Because it is a crystal, it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about Epsom salt baths here in just a moment, but I think one of the reasons that it's so effective to bathe in like salt water is because you're basically having all that crystalline energy around you, which just helps clarify your energy as well. As I said, it's one of the basic tastes that we have. It's also just important to life in general. Most of the organisms in the ocean can live with it. We can't really drink it that way, but we drink regular water, but salt water is basically where all the life on this planet eventually started and came from. So let's talk about how it's important to you, why I think it's coming up. So as I was talking about here, it's a cleansing agent, and especially so when we're looking at energy. And as I was saying, I saw someone that could be an agitator or an antagonist or a block in your life. And it was almost as if you were trying to find a way for them to either drink some salt water or sprinkle some salt water on them. But they're pretty wise. One thing that I saw here is that it's almost like they know that they're up to something. So I didn't get a chance to put this card in the slide, but to me, this is very much moon energy or Seven of Swords, which is thinking that you can get the better of someone. So I want you to trust your third eye this month. And if somebody is giving off vibes where they're just a little sneaky or a little less honest than they should be, you want to be aware of it. You don't have to sprinkle salt water on it. It's a metaphor. But basically, you want to clarify what's going on and make sure that they're clear on what your expectations are, and also let them know that you know. I don't think there's a harm in that. So one thing that you can also do here is take a bath in Epsom salt. And that's something that you can usually readily find at convenience stores, drug stores, maybe even a grocery store, and it's not expensive. Unless you're getting something with like lavender scent in it or something, a lot of times, at least here in the US, it can be as little as $3 for a pretty decent bag. And then you can always add your own essential oils to it. That's my advice. So little tip here, if you do decide to take an Epsom salt bath, you want to make sure that after you bathe, that you probably take a shower and you're thinking to yourself, what's going on? Or at least take another bath in just plain water. I found that it dries out your skin. So if you have dry skin or sensitive skin, these baths are great, but you need to get the salt off your body so that you don't dry out. It's good for its metaphysical purposes, but don't overdo this. Again, it is sort of like a drying agent. But I found that especially if you are a light worker or a healer, or you work with massage or as a doctor and you're constantly in other people's energies or touching them, then what you want to do is do this occasionally, like once a week, and it really just kind of helps clear everything out of your energy system, okay? So I talk a lot about the Lovers and the Devil card, and I just wanted to grab them here for this slide. The interesting thing is that the energy is very, very similar. So in the Lovers card, we see people in paradise, basically, right? Two different figures here looking at each other, reaching out towards each other, blessed by the energy above them. Basically, it's kind of like a take on Eden, the Garden of Eden. Then we see the Devil card, and the Devil card is not so much about the figure behind them, so much as it is the chains that binds them, and then what they've conjured up in their own life that personifies the devil, which can be jealousy, lies, revenge. There's any number of things that could basically take on that guise. But the devil itself is more of a figure, not so much as something to be feared. It's what we create. The devil's in the details. The devil's sort of what we're creating. And I like to sometimes think of if you ever played around a campfire or with a flashlight in your room as a kid, and you create those shadow figures on the wall. They look scarier than they are, but it's really something of our own creation. And that's how I view the Devil card. So what you want to do is start to turn back towards that person and think, wait a second, we're on the same team. We're on, what are our common goals here? Don't let that thing in the middle kind of get in the way. Looks can be deceiving. One of the things that I was shown here, and I generally don't mind shape-shifting energy. I think in totems it can be interesting, but I was seeing someone that whenever I sprinkled the salt water on them, they changed into something else or someone else. I had to keep sprinkling the water because they kept changing. To me, that shows me someone who either doesn't know themselves or has maybe just doesn't want to reveal who they are. So there is this sort of tricky energy. Seven of Swords, again, keeps coming through mentally as I talk about this. So what can you do? Clarify expectations. Make sure that you walk the walk as well as talk the talk, and make sure that others do the same as well. Accountability is the name of the game here. So I think as long as you're ready and willing to be accountable and hold other people to have that accountability, then everything is going to start to kind of come into a nice focal point for you. All right, let's look at the next piece. Moderation is key. As I said, a little bit of salt is okay, a lot of salt is not. No salt is probably bad too. We need a balance. So equilibrium in general, I think, would be my main piece of advice as we're looking at the month ahead. The interesting thing here, I just put a post on my Instagram about spring or fall equinox, which is just around the corner. I say or fall because southern hemisphere is opposite of northern hemisphere with all the seasons, but this upcoming one, which is around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, you'll have to look at my post, but basically in a couple weeks here. It's going to, it's one time on the planet where light and dark is equal. So it doesn't matter if you're going into fall or starting spring, equal amounts of light and dark. So that's coming up this month, and it's putting in this nice balancing energy as we look at April, which is what this forecast is intended for. So for those of you watching live over the next couple of weeks, you can try to find that perfect balance. Justice requires a level of discernment, meaning I need to decide this, not that. There's a few balance cards in tarot, Justice, of course, being the most balanced. Six of Pentacles has a scale in it as well, and it's using the discernment energy here. So both Justice and Six of Pentacles come into mind. You want to avoid the Two of Pentacles, which is a juggling card, not quite balanced, looking for balance. That's why I kind of grabbed Justice here. So what do you want? What are you trying to bring about? And the sooner you have that focal energy and focus point in your life, the better. I think we have a couple more cards here. So the next one is to be proactive. So in my dreams, I was watching as water was coming through the top of the ceiling. It was a leaky roof. And it looked to me more like an office environment, but a lot of times my dreams are just symbolic. To me, an office would indicate people that should be getting something done. It's about cooperation and collaboration. However, nobody spoke up. Everybody just watched as the ceiling was leaking. And in my dream, I stepped away from my desk. My computer was completely covered in water, and I thought, why didn't someone close the computer or come to me or stop the leak? And they all just kind of shrugged and said, just get a bucket and deal with it. And I thought, no, this isn't the way we do it. So you may be frustrated because there's something that needs action. There's something that needs somebody to step up. You might have to be that someone. Because if everyone is biting their tongues or biding time, waiting in the background, hoping things will get better, it doesn't get better. And eventually that leak becomes like, the roof just caves in. So being proactive is so important. Basically, you're going to spend some time possibly plugging up leaks here. So these leaks are symbolic. Of course, you should check your roof if you're a homeowner, and especially with some of the rainy season here in the spring, end of winter, beginning of spring, you want to make sure that it's okay. But bigger questions that come through when I'm looking at this metaphor. Are you losing sleep or energy worrying about someone or something? That person could be an energetic leak for you. We may also call them like an energy vampire. So sometimes there's a family member in your life that constantly has problems, or someone whom you're just obsessed over because something isn't right, because they did something wrong, because it's just hard for you to move past that. They are basically tantamount to a leaky roof where your energy just keeps seeping into that person, place, or thing. And this month, you're going to decide to just stop the leak. Stop thinking about it, or somehow look at that problem and say what's on your mind. Communication is key. We want it to go away again, but sometimes we have to speak up. So however you want to communicate, I would encourage that. I think it's going to make things feel a lot better and hopefully get into a really good space as well. Spinning wheels. Think of, for this, like a car in mud. There comes a point where no matter how fast you rev the engine, you actually could be counterproductive, where it digs you deeper into the hole. Is there something that you're doing where you're just spinning wheels and you're not getting any further. You're exhausting yourself, and it is maybe a fruitless endeavor. If it's not worth your time, then it might be time to step to the side, let things sort of like mellow out a bit. If we were to think of that metaphor of the car that had been stuck in the mud, we need to let the rainstorm stop or get a tow. But either way, continuing to do what you're doing is just sinking the situation. So step aside and redirect your energy. Are there any areas in your life where you're just not being productive, where you're spending erratically or irresponsibly? Energy, money, time, etc. Because resources are more than just the exchange of coins. It's also time and love and effort. What's holding you back from making the change to bring this balance in your life? This is something only you can answer, but I think the sooner you can look at where can I be effective, where can I make an impact, where can I feel more sort of empowered, this is going to help you have more fun, do more important things, and see that sort of energetic return on your investment, okay? So your channeled messages this month really had to do about clarity, cleaning things up, and stopping those sort of unnecessary expenditures of time, energy, and money, okay? So I hope to help you find those efficiencies today. And ultimately, with the salt metaphor, it's all about clarification. I think you're going to be walking into April, because you're watching this early, you're going to be walking into April really feeling like, I know what I want. And that is the powerful space to kind of bring in that Two of Wands and High Priestess energy as well, okay? So let's get ready for the next phase. Again, we just talked about channeled messages. I'm going to, just to kind of save us some time and get us moving, I'm going to select the deck for today. You'll still have a chance to vote when we get into the viewer's choice in just a moment here. So let's get ready for the Celtic Cross, and it's going to be reader's choice for this. So let me choose a deck that I'm being called to, and then we'll get started. Let me see here. Yeah, this is a pretty deck. Okay. Even though this one drives me nuts sometimes, I really like the animal cards in this and the nature of this. So we're going to use Wild Unknown. The only thing that I don't like about this deck, again, is sometimes wands and swords are a little hard to discern, but I'm called to use it today. So let's zoom in and take a look at what's going on. Welcome, everybody. Again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, and hopefully helping you have a fantastic April, end of March if you're watching. Just as we kind of pulled it in the channel messages, there we have El Diablo. All right, and the Lovers, oh my gosh. Okay, so that was Spirit totally speaking to us, because we just talked about someone who is coming through and kind of pretending to be something that they're not. Can't make that stuff up. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? All right, so definitely chose the right deck today. This is an amazing deck that's underutilized. I should use it more. There are certain cards here that I love the artist. I actually am using her Oracle card, but when it comes to some of the wands and swords, I just wish that she had identified them. Like, why can't we put wands on there? It's just a little easier as a reader, because you'll see wands and swords are pretty close. But anyway, I'm super excited because all the stuff we're talking about just kind of came through, including the High Priestess and the Two of Pentacles. Lots and lots of synchronicities with this deck. I don't know why I'm surprised sometimes, but as a reader, it's always cool to see those synchronicities in real time. So this deck is also made by the same artist. So this is Wild Unknown, and this is the Oracle deck that's associated with it. I use this much more than I use this deck, again, just because I have to really look at the cards closely and make sure that I'm looking at the right card. But I love animals, and this deck is filled with animals, so definitely one that I love to read with on my own. So many cards of change. We got death a couple of times, really interesting. Judgment. You have an exciting month ahead. I have to say, as a reader, I really love it when there's a lot of major arcana cards, when things are like, when I can see things being shook up. Yeah, all shook up. So I feel like that's what's going to be happening for you, is that if you've been waiting for changes, they're coming through, my friends. This is going to be a great month. So much with death and rebirth. We got death, we have judgment, we have this sort of rebirth card here with the coffin. A lot to talk about, a lot to decompress here. So let's get started. I want to begin with your catalyst card here. And when I'm looking at this apocalypsis card, try to say that 3 times fast. What I'm really getting here is that it's the beginning of the end of something in your life that I feel like you're really ready to see happen. Sometimes we need that final straw to just give us permission to do something we know that is right for us. The final straw for you, it could be like, I'm tired of this job. I'm tired of this apartment. I'm tired of this relationship. And I want to move on, but I need something to solidify it so that I can get through it. So we see that big old eye at the center here. For you, I really see that clarification or that crystallization coming through, which is why I saw salt, I believe, earlier coming through as a metaphor for you. So if there ever was a time to take that next step and to move into the next or the right direction, I would say right here and right now, that's definitely the time. This is definitely the place. So again, what this does is it allows you to, this is the catalyst is how you can set things off in the right direction. So when you see it, when you feel it, really decide now, I have to make this movement. If not now, then when? Let's look at your center 2 cards. And just to basically bring back what I was talking about, let's go to that slide. Today I had to work fast because, for the presentation, some of the stuff I didn't have as much time to prepare. So sometimes when you do that, things are even more powerful here. So I have the Lovers and the Devil here, and I said, the clarity and purity of the salt crystals is a reminder to see through facades. If someone is saying one thing and doing another, actions speak louder than words. This holds true for you. It cuts both ways. So you have to walk the walk. You have to be accountable. You have to hold other people to their accountability. And as we're looking here at the Devil and the Lovers card at the center, let's talk about this. We'll bring the Devil card up first. So what is this really about? Well, as I said before, it's less about whatever we want to personify the devil, whether it's a chains or a goat or the devil itself. The devil is more about holding yourself back by a limiting thought, for instance, like, I can't do this, I won't do this, it's not going to happen. It can be someone in your life pretending to be someone they're not, as we talked about, where to me, this would be someone who could stab you in the back. So they pretend to be your friend, but then they say something behind your back. It could be someone who kind of like holds back and through omission is sort of lying to you. So they could say, oh yeah, you should do this, but they don't tell you that 3 other people tried it and had some difficulties. So omitting facts, outright not saying the right thing, lying or withholding information, it all kind of comes together with the devil because it uses things like that to get ahead. So what you want to be really careful of this month is stepping into something without doing your homework. So with the devil card smack dab in that center point, I would say, ask yourself, why am I interested in this? What have other people done before me? What kind of information is already out there that I can learn from? And if I decide to step into something, let me really go forth with like 20 questions, not necessarily to the, like all 20. I'm just saying, like, really have a sheet of information in front of you and say, I'm curious about this. I'm what about this? Dig as deep as you can. Be the sort of investigator to make sure that you understand things. Also, if it doesn't smell or look right in your sort of like third eye, if it just seems to you like something's off a little bit, I want you to trust that. You're very rarely led astray by that sort of spider sense that's coming in here. There could be someone that you really, really care about that is going through a tough time. There may also be someone that you care about that has acted poorly. So they could have kept a secret from you. They could have underestimated you. They could have held you back because of the fear of losing you. This can be a parent, by the way. Parent or a boss. They're like, you're too important to me. I'm not going to let you go to the next level. It's not always someone doing something that we would consider like terrible. It's sort of selfish. That's what those actions are. So someone that's doing a self-serving action that somehow is holding you back from being the best version of yourself. The only way you can get through this is, as I said in the slide earlier, to kind of look eye to eye with that person and say, how did we get here? And are we, do we want to get past this? So you kind of have this pivot or this fork in the road where you're either going to stay or go, I feel, on many levels here. So it's all about how accountable and honest the other person decides they want to be and how important they decide this relationship is. So there's a lot of power, there's a lot of possibility, but it takes two to tango and it takes two to fix this as well, okay? The good news on top of this here, as we're looking at the Lover's card right here, is that I see possibly a challenge followed up pretty quickly by some good news, okay? So some of you may be wondering, like, when is my luck going to turn? Now, this month, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, because we have a death card, we have a judgment card, we have another death card, we have another death card. You have 2 or 3, some of you, opportunities that are actually happening quickly. And the fact that we see birds in flight here is saying you're going to have to move faster than you're used to in order to maximize the energy here. Wild Unknown, by the way. Someone's asking what deck this is. This is the Wild Unknown. So with the Lover's card, you have the power to attract better people and better opportunities, but you may be tempted to stick around in this, so don't. There's something better that awaits you. Go higher. We have the Daughter of Swords here, a page card basically, and with the Page of Swords and this lovely owl here, which reminds me of Athena, I would say listen to the inner wisdom. Listen to the wisdom of others. Again, this is why I think it's so important to, whether you're Googling information to find out what people's ratings and experiences are for like a product or service, or you're talking to people if you're going to date someone and trying to get a sort of full understanding of who this is, or if you're going to work somewhere and you're going to talk to previous employees, really dig deeper. That existing knowledge out there is going to save you so much time if you decide to tap into it. Okay? What do you have to do in order to do that? Well, listening is the first thing. I usually see pages as either listening to information, taking orders or taking information in, and then maybe taking the first step towards delivering them. You can also be sort of deciding how you want to deliver that. But when we get the Mother or the Queen of Swords in reverse, this is about cutting to the chase, getting to the point. And so this month, you're going to be asked to really say what you need to say. And I think that when it comes to what we're looking at in the center between the Devil card and the Lover's card, that it's important for you to do this with a kindness and a constructive manner, but not sugarcoat. So if somebody in your life has acted poorly, a child, a parent, a lover, a coworker, a best friend, you could say, I think the world of you. Start with something positive and real. I love you, but I really don't like what happened here. And if we can't talk about this, then we're in trouble. But if we can, then I'm in it 100%. We'll work through it. So expect that people are going to put the work in. And if they won't, then that's the sign that it's time to move on. I do think it's important to hold people accountable when they tell a lie, when they miss they promise something and they don't come through on that promise. Not sort of like act like you're holier than thou. We all make mistakes. You can even say that. If this was a mistake or if this was just miscommunication, tell me that. But if it wasn't, then we've got bigger problems and we need to work through it. So say what you need to say. Let's say everything is good in your life and this may just be limiting thoughts or whatever. The Queen of Swords is going to help you get through the limits, and she's also going to cut through that nonsense too. So what she's saying is not this. Basically, don't worry so much about all of these things that could go wrong, might go wrong, all the fears. replace this with the higher version, because as you saw when we look at the at my presentation here, oh shoot, I have it out of view, so let me bring it up. I do this a lot. All right, so here we go. When we look at these two together, what we're really seeing is a chance for you to pop into the higher version of that. So with that happening, I would say the important thing for you is to think about, if I go towards the positive, if I go towards what's something that I can really envision in my life, then I actually will attract that and create that. So by all means, try to attract and create the positive versus the negative, because it's not a good time and energy sort of expenditure for you. And that could be one of the leaks that we were talking about earlier, okay? We have the Death card in reverse in the crowning position. So for some of you, you're holding back on moving into that next thing because you're afraid of what might be. You think this could be the end of the world. If we look at the apocalyptic portion of this, it's not the end of the world. This is actually, to me, a big snake skin if you look pretty closely at it. And so you have to shed this skin in order to go to the next phase. We see here a big skeleton as well. So we're all kind of the same underneath. We're skin and bones, but the sort of structure of each of us on an energetic level, soul level, even just sort of like genetic level, it's pretty similar. So when you strip away just what we look like, there's a lot more there that's in common. So you're going to be okay. This sort of facade is what's holding you back. So when you just go to the real you, things start to open up and get into a more exciting space. This is stagnation. Where are you feeling like you're stagnating in your life? Each one of you are going to sort of like feel like that's a different place or a different space. Wherever that might be, this is where you need to take action this month. The Death card in reverse is really kind of easy to sort of counteract. It's just saying, I haven't done what I need to in this area, so why don't I take the first step? Why don't I make the first call? With respect to your health, this card is really about finding a place where you may be sort of not doing enough. You might be standing still too much or sitting down too much or doing too much of one thing, not enough of another, and also holding back from making the change that you need to in your life. The Death card reversed has a similar energy in this respect to Seven of Swords, because Seven of Swords is lying to yourself, saying, I'll do it tomorrow, or this doesn't matter, or one more cookie, whatever it is. Whatever you're kind of saying, this isn't as big as it is. The Death card is saying, when it's important, I'll take action. So there are different ways of kind of keeping yourself stuck. And the Devil energy is what's coming through and saying, don't worry, it's easier to do nothing. So I'm telling you, it's better to do something, and it will be easier in the future if you do it now, sooner than later. So it may be easier to do nothing today, but the longer you wait to do something, the harder it will be. So it's a short-term gain and a long-term loss. So make that action happen today. Whatever it is, saying I love you, quitting a job, accepting a job, moving, making the big shift in your life. That's what's holding you back, is the sort of vacillation between right here and the next sort of step here. We have another page card here, the Daughter of Wands here. Yeah, Daughter of Wands. And it's kind of cool because we have the snake symbol on top of this. So we see power, we see flexibility. It kind of reminds me just even of an ace here. You're not looking so much at the energy of the page itself. So for you, I really want you to wrap yourself around the idea of whatever it is that you want to do. Get back to basics, get back to the big picture, and focus on that. Sometimes it's good to have one of the court cards in Wands reverse, because it says, I know really who I am, and to a point that nobody's going to be able to kind of knock me off of my game. And that's what I see with this card. You are flexible enough and just stubborn enough to make sure that it gets done. I think it's still always important to be able to listen to other people, to be able to take feedback and input. But the reversal of this is sometimes advantageous because it says, yes, ... but in this moment in time, I also want you to stand your ground. When we get to the Queen or the King reversed, it's maybe too stubborn, but at the page level, it's saying, know when you want to really make sure that you're not a pushover, that you're not losing focus, that you don't water down your idea. All of those things are going to basically help you be strong and help you be effective this month. All right, let's move on to how you're showing up, heart and soul. So we have the Five of Wands, and I'm double checking to make sure that it's wands and not swords. Yes, it is. So the Five of Wands was the hamster wheel, or that feeling of being stuck in a cycle, spinning your wheel I talked about. The reversal of this is saying there may be a better way to do it. Notice how each one of these wands has this sort of like energy around it. If we pull it really close and you can kind of see it, each wand is pushing and pulling and tugging energy in a different direction. How much more effective would it be if all of them were pushing in the same sort of direction, or they were holding one another up to create like this pyramid, instead of this sort of like staccato energy going in all these different directions? I feel like you could work a lot smarter in groups with others. You could also work a lot smarter on your own when you're looking at your sort of schedule right here and right now. So definitely see where you can find some efficiencies, like I said, and get back into what's inspiring you. When we look at this is the big idea I have a card that's the big idea, but this is like the bird's eye view of what's going on. Do you like what you're doing? Do you like who you are? Do you like who you're with? Does it align with that higher purpose? If it does, you're good. If it doesn't, it's time to make a change. By the way, with the Death card in the crowning position, some of you could also be dealing with just change in general or loss. And sometimes for some of us have an easier time dealing with loss. Sometimes we think to ourselves, why me? Sometimes we think, what next? And sometimes we think, I'm just going to stay here and see what happens. So I think that it's really one of the bigger thematic elements that I'm seeing this month for you is, how are you dealing with change? Are you change averse, or do you love it? If you love it, good, because I see lots and lots of changes coming through. April, doesn't matter what religion you are, kind of has that sort of rebirth energy, right? Because when we look at, especially for Northern Hemisphere, but even for the Southern Hemisphere, it's a change of seasons. So what we see is going from one to another. In the spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, what happens is things that were dead come to life. If there were places in your life where you saw dormancy or this lack of growth, just like the tree that buds up and blossoms and sprouts out new growth, that's what this period offers for you. But you have to embrace that you can't go back and that you have to push through. Even the tree is pushing through the bark, just like the snake is going to shed its skin. So seeing, acknowledging, and embracing that change is happening is going to be the key to your general success this month, okay? What you see is what you get. What you see is what you create. We have High Priestess energy coming through here. And this, I'll take the Daughter of Wands. It's just as good as the Two of Wands, because with this, you actually have an elevated vision of it. You've gone to one thing. You think, this is what I really want. This is what I see. And this is what I'm creating. When you can see it, others can see it. If you can't see it, other people are going to pass you up for whatever it is that you want. Like I said, a date, a job, an opportunity, time on the calendar. But if you see yourself as worthwhile, and also if you see through the facade, maybe someone who is kind of hiding or not answering or silent, they're trying to communicate something. Close your eyes and ears and kind of tune in and think, what's the big idea? What's the big deal? Why aren't they talking to me? Go into that and basically discern. For me, let me just give you a tip here. I think that if someone is too hard to work with, is constantly requiring you to nudge them, is never the first one to email, call, or write, they're not super interested in growing whatever this sort of connection is. If it's a coworker, they're just going to let you do as much as you're willing to do. If it's a lover or a partner, same sort of thing. They're like, well, this is comfortable, but they may not be as invested as you are. So is the investment even? That's the question here, because this High Priestess can create something better. So if you're not getting what you want out of something, then focus your gaze in another direction and see what else is available. By the time that other person figures it out, it's probably going to be too late, but you're also going to be in a much better place. I love that people see you as the high priestess, and you might also have the high priestess in your environment, because to me, the environment card can be seen in both directions. I can see the high priestess, and I know that person can help me. They can see me as the high priestess, and maybe we have this nice mutual kind of connection. In this case, because let's imagine there are two high priestesses, one may be very keen on being in control. This can be control, by the way. We'll look at love. I actually had someone the other day chastise me in the comments. Everyone has some feedback, and they're like, why don't you talk about love? I talk about love when I see it. I see it today, so let me talk about what this could be. This could be someone in a relationship that says, I don't want to give up power to you, or I don't like it if you're growing. And you're probably going to be able to see that. They may also manipulate, because the devil and the high priestess together can be charming. The devil can be charming, but manipulative. So true love is better than that. True love is unconditional. Yeah, the person may have some faults that they're working through, but this isn't enough. So when it comes to relationships of love in particular, but also friendships, because I do see love with a capital L. It's not just who you have sex with or who you're living with or who you're married to. I see love as all the relationships in your life. I see an opportunity to repair or to reveal something this month. And if the other person doesn't want to put the work into it, you're going to move on. Because you see it, they have to choose what they want to do. And the same thing is true for you. If you're not willing to do the work, the other person may move on. So there's this release that's going to happen for many of you that I think is going to be really healing. You're going to see things clearer. You're going to feel clearer and cleaner as well as this month progresses. The only thing that's necessary is a decision. Do I want to invest or do I want to move on? Okay? Focus on the one thing that you really want to see movement on this month, and I think that it's going to be amazing. You're going to see a lot of progress on this. You're going to break through the block. So writer's block, artist block, maybe just even feeling like I haven't been able to see it. Take the I can't out. Say, I'm ready to see this. Show me, universe, show me where to go, because I'm ready to manifest this now. That's a good way to air your frustrations in a way that isn't limiting it through a limited thought or a limited set of words. So instead of saying, this never happens, this never works, it's not happening, say, show me a better way. That's your prayer, actually, to the universe. Show me a better path. My eyes are open. I'll see it. I'll act. I'm ready. Okay? Let's go back to the cards here. We have the Hanged Man here. This is in hopes, fears, and opportunities. Some of you are just waiting. And it's not the worst card to pull, because the Hanged Man means that you're going to gain some knowledge from this experience. So not rushing is actually okay, unless you've been waiting forever on something. But if it's something where you just have to see it to the final sort of like end of this race, that's fine. See it to fruition and then decide, is this enough for me? One thing that this card kind of encourages you to do is to come out of your shell. And with this one, because I see the nocturnal energy here, I would say there might be a right time or a right place for things. Because I'm seeing a lot of symbols that I would associate with the night or with shadow energy here, for some of you, don't be afraid to do what you need to do for fear of what others might say or react. Because a lot of times we build up an imaginary dialogue in our minds that isn't going to be as difficult as we think. So for any of you who've had to give notice from a job, break up in a relationship, maybe even just say something to someone that's uncomfortable but necessary for healing. Usually, it's a lot less complicated than you think, especially if you're good friends with someone or if you've built up a rapport. They will have probably intuited on some levels. They'll say, yeah, I had a feeling. I'm glad you brought it up. I didn't know how to say it, or I didn't know what to do. There may be a sense of relief. Both parties may be the Hanged Man. So in this case, someone has to spread their wings and say, not we have to talk, but I have something exciting to share with you, or I have something important to say, and I think it'll make things better. Like put a positive spin on it if you can. The three dreaded words we need to talk for. We need to talk is usually not the best way to start something. If you have something that you're excited to say, let's say it's like an announcement for a company, maybe it's coming out, maybe it's some sort of just declaration that feels good. You can say, because I love you, because we have a close relationship, I want to share something really important with you, and I think it will make us closer. The other person has now been set up in such a way that if they react poorly, they seem like they're a bad friend, but you know they're not going to if they truly love you. So just say, this is something that's important. I just want to share it with you so that we can be close, and because I don't like secrets. Okay, so cool. What's going on? I would be open to something like that versus, we need to talk. There's something important. Like that can actually be a little off-putting. People are afraid. So try to put it in the best possible light and say that it's going to make things better, that you don't like to keep secrets. So there you go. That's kind of what I'm getting with that. Next card, outcome, 2 of Pentacles. And if you make your discerning choice and move in one direction, you're going to be okay, is what we see with this. Basically, we have a necessary decision. 6 of Pentacles. You can say, I'll do this now, I'll do that later. You get a lot of choices. 2 of Pentacles, you really have to focus on something. So in order to be most effective this month, say yes to one, say no to another. And that's why we have a couple of death cards here. One is going to take your energy. One's going to be like the focus point. One's going to be something that you say not today or not now or just no, full stop. And by doing that, you have an ace and you can really fly. You can really move forward. One of the prettiest 2 of Pentacles I've ever seen, possibly. So when you make that choice, you're okay. One thing that's kind of interesting with butterflies is they don't have a really long lifespan, right? The longer portion is the caterpillar phase, the pupa phase, everything basically leading up to the chrysalis and then the eventual butterfly. Some butterflies, like the monarchs, can live up to a year, but a lot of them just live for a week or for a few days. So this sort of difficult period for you, maybe making the decision, once you do it, you're free. I feel like it's just going to be 2 or 3 days of vacillation, decision, and then you can spread your wings. You can have a good time. Things are going to be good. And that's going to not be even a big deal. There's going to be something even bigger on the horizon, okay? So overall, exciting. Like so far we see change is the big energy this month. The big challenge for you is discernment. Holding back, waiting, sitting, and sort of like wishing someone else would do it also could hold you back. But once you've made your decision, you're very, very powerful, and you're able to move past this and attract this, which is great. Let's go ahead now and move on to the next portion. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, get some additional insights and information about what's available to you. As we take a look at your health card, we have something here that reminds me again of death. So death in and of itself is not to be feared. When we're looking at it, it's just necessary change. We're also looking at, for some of you, your skeletal system here, because we've got so many skeletons here in the spread. For any of you that might have had a broken bone, maybe you're going to get like a hip surgery or something needs to be sort of put into it. It could also just be, hey, I'm going to the chiropractor, or I'm getting a massage. Something needs to be aligned or tweaked a little bit when it comes to posture and your sort of skeletal strength. By all means, do what you need to do here. Standard disclaimers as I'm looking at health. I'm going to be looking at energies and areas for balance in your life. Obviously, if you have to talk to a doctor about anything, do that. Get the professional help you need. But some of you may just be feeling like there's a heavy load and it's sitting on you energetically. You feel it in your bones. You might also, there's that phrase, I feel it in my bones. So if there's something going on in your life and all the way to the core, you feel like you have to do something, follow through on that, okay? But especially focusing on bone health, calcium intake, and things of that nature. Working, as I said just a few moments ago, with a doctor and a professional to make sure that that part of your life is in balance. Let's look at all of the cards and see what other messages are coming through with respect to health. As I said at the beginning, many of you have this big opportunity to just sort of like get real with yourself. The Devil card is saying, I know I need to make some changes, but am I ready to really step into those changes? Maybe someone in your life knows better than you and could be that source of love and support. There may also be something going on, as I said, in a core relationship where that's causing stress for you. If that's the case, whatever is maybe broken, it either needs to get fixed or it's time to move on. Like the leaky roof, you're either going to deal with it or you're going to get out because that roof is going to collapse. So that's the main thing, is make a decision. Fix it or leave it. Move your body. Pay attention to the limits in your body when you're moving it. Again, working with a doctor or a professional to make sure that that is good for you. The biggest thing as I'm looking at health is it shouldn't feel like it's too much work to do something. One thing that I started to do this year just to kind of be healthier was really decided, and for budget reasons too, and really it happened even over the pandemic, but I got even healthier as I've started to cook this year. I steam a lot of vegetables and a lot of food. I just decided to have fun with cooking. And if you can find a way to find the joy in it, then it doesn't feel like it's work. So find something where it's like, well, I like when this person does this and maybe I can learn from that. So whether it's different ways to work out, different ways to eat, different ways to manage your stress, find something that is playful, joyful, or fun about it, and then you're going to be a lot better at sort of sticking to it, okay? Again, if you can see that it's possible, you can make it happen. So try to see not what's looking at you in the mirror, but what you want to see in your life, what you want to manifest in your life. Balance is important here. So when I get the Two of Pentacles and I have to remember, again, sometimes when I work with so many different decks, I get a different energy when I look at it in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So Rider-Waite-Smith does a better job of showing the imbalance. So what could be going on for some of you is your work-life balance could be off. Any aspect of your life where I'm spending too much here and not enough here. So we see the sort of rubber band at the center of this particular deck. There comes a point where that rubber band will break. So what you really want to do is make sure that you're taking care of like getting enough sleep, eating enough, spending enough time with those who you love. And all of those things are going to make you stronger, more capable, and more productive in other aspects of your life. Generally speaking, the cards look good. The only one that's sort of like, it's a wake-up call. You could have had a close brush with death. Maybe someone that you loved passed away. Maybe your doctor said if you don't change this, it's not going to bode well. Whatever it is, you had a wake-up call, and now you have a choice to create a different future and to find balance in your life. So choose to make that change in a positive direction. Let's go ahead now and move. I was going to say trajectory, and I put the two together. Let's move now to your wealth card. We have Judgment here. Let me put my glasses on. Let's bring the card close to the camera, and let's talk about the message here as we look at wealth. Wealth is your money. It's your career. It's also life purpose. The card says, I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Ultimately, this is encouraging you to release harsh judgments about yourself and others. Easier said than done, especially when someone drives you crazy. But remembering what I was talking about earlier, when we focus too much on someone or something, then ultimately it has a way of manipulating, or I shouldn't say manipulating, but monopolizing our energy. So by freeing yourself to not think about them and just allow karma, the forces of the universe to step in and do what they need to do, suddenly you're free. Judgment is also a phoenix rising. So if you had a major setback with your money, with an investment, anything of that nature, this particular card is saying, well, I learned, and I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not defined by one moment in time, by one mistake that I made. I'm much stronger than that. So once you accept that and embrace that, then in fact you are stronger than that, and some cool things start to happen. For many of you, it's time to move on. We have no less than 3 cards around death here and a 4th up here. So this is the 1 month where if you're sitting on any change, you must do it. But when it comes to some of you and your jobs, let's say you're in a good job, because this isn't showing me that you're in any sort of danger of losing it. But what's happening here is you could be bored. You could be busy and bored. This is busy. This is stuck. So you have to make a decision to get unstuck, to move on, to get out of that. For some of you, you could be changing your mind. Like, I've done everything that I could do in this path. I want to try this path. That's fine. Explore that if you want to. If you're looking for work or opportunities right now, again, there could be moments where you're thinking like, why am I not inspired, or why is this not moving? And it kind of pushes you back into a hermit mode, even though it's the Hanged Man. It's very hermit-like energy. What I want you to do is to think about things that do excite, ignite, and sort of like inspire you, and focus on that. Even or especially if it's, you going in another direction, 90 degrees or 180 degrees, I don't care, whatever you're doing, you can always turn around and try something different. I think that's the important piece there. Don't accept something that is less than what it should be. Pay very close attention to contractual agreements. Line edit the heck out of that. Decide to go in there and say, no, yes, this, change this. You have a lot of power this month. Use the pen, use your sort of stubbornness to say, no, I really am keen on this. You can't have everything that you want, but you can have a lot of it. So push for the most important piece and decide what you're willing to let go of. I think those are the most important elements here. When I'm looking at your financial energy, I wish that we had more than the Two of Pentacles. It's not the worst card, but it's not the best card. You may be given too few resources to be empowered to do what you want to do. So in an office, that's where people are kind of sitting around and just letting the sort of energy or the resource leaks happen. So that's where you have to stand up, speak up, and make a decision to plug those leaks or get the extra help that you need, or just let something go. I've talked many times of the importance of proactively communicating that something's not going to happen. I'm going to focus on this. This won't happen. You can keep expecting it to happen, but I'm telling you now that unless I get the help, I can't make it happen. And then ultimately copy yourself on those emails and things so that you have backup, and then hopefully you can get the help that you need. And if you still don't get the help that you need, move on. That's the main thing. I want to see more resources coming through. So either use your Queen of Swords reversed energy and say, I need help, or you need to do this, or I can't or won't do this, or, step back. Because if someone continues to be sort of a party to that or hoping that you'll just kind of take it on, then they're not this. Okay? I'd like to focus, though, primarily on the Phoenix Rising portion of this, which is I've learned from this and I'm ready to try this instead. All right, let's move on to your love card. We have the Elephant Spirit here, learn from the past. When I see this, I think of a couple of things. First of all, the elephant itself portends good things. When we think of Lord Ganesh, it helps us overcome obstacles in our life. So that's great, actually. The elephant can also be the elephant in the room. So it's a phrase that means that there's something that everybody knows and can see, but they're not talking about. So this could be an addiction in the family. This could be a secret that people are forcing you to keep. This could be bad behavior that people are enabling. And everyone's tiptoeing around because somebody's told them that they can't say it, or that there's this understood energy that we don't talk about that. Well, the elephant in the room can trample you if you don't do something. So I say this month, who cares? Speak up. If not you, then who? Somebody's going to have to be the elephant in the room and kind of like, make some noise, make some ruckus. Because by enabling this elephant in reverse, which is really that, it's sort of this feeling of you see me and I'm going to be behaving poorly, but nobody's going to call me out on it. Then it just keeps happening and happening and happening. So love can sometimes be an excuse for bad behavior. We don't want that in relationships this month, okay? You can overcome any obstacle if you're honest, if you love each other, if you bring it back to the energy of love, if you're honest, particularly with what's going on. But if you're not, then it's going to be challenging. We're going to break this down into 3 different areas. We're going to look at those in love, looking for love, and then also single and happy. The in love portion can also be roughly kind of put together for any of you that might be looking at a relationship that you care a lot about. So you and a coworker or you and a friend, but especially for those of you that might be married or in a long-term relationship. Honesty. I mean, that's the number one thing when I see the Devil card. We have to get to the honesty. And if there's something going on where the partner needs help, letting them know that you see it, giving them a chance to talk about it, and always bringing it back to that energy of love. I've got your back. I know this is hard. Let's talk. If there's a big secret, it may be one that is too difficult to move past because both of you are strong and stubborn. So there could be this sort of feeling like, well, that's not cool with me. I needed to know that. I'm actually seeing a lot more in common than not because we have two daughter cards here, the Daughter of Swords, the Daughter of Wands. I see one party that's a lot more communicative and one that holds it in or is more demonstrative, shows it but doesn't say it. This one says it but may not show it. So the walking the walk, talking the talk thing could also be a bone of contention. There could just be sort of stagnation in the relationship, like boredom. And for you, this is about reigniting a spark if that happens. And putting the work in. As long as both parties are putting the work in, it's going to be okay. I see a big sort of energy for healing coming through overall, and each part has to do their fair share, 50-50. Otherwise, you have to kind of look at this and think, is it worth the energetic expense here? I do think you can get through the current situation. These are two outcome cards. This is wrapping your head around it, literally, wrapping your energy around someone else's thought that may not be what you wanted, and then finding a common ground and a place where you're going to concede or compromise. Compromise is probably what's necessary. Inaction will bring this about faster, will bring about a full stop, okay? Generally pretty good, but it is about honesty. I think that the honesty piece, if you open up, it's okay. This can just say, I'm afraid of this. If you love each other, then you can say, don't worry, I've got you. We'll find a way to balance this out. I actually have an idea. So if you are afraid, tell someone that. The devil doesn't have to be cheating. It doesn't have to be lying. It can just be fear. So don't be afraid. That would be the easiest sort of way to read this whole spread. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of trying something new. That's the best piece of advice I could give for existing relationships. If you're looking for love this month, let's face it, I don't know if you're ready to commit to it because this is this is non-committal, or this is looking for something for reasons that aren't ideal. Some of you it could just be desire that is too great. So sometimes we are looking at a biological clock, we're looking at familial pressure on us, we're looking at an arbitrary deadline that we set in the sand and thought, like, if I'm not married or dating by this age, somehow I'm not okay. Let go of it. It's arbitrary. Love has no bounds. Love doesn't fit this mold that the devil card wants it to. Love comes in any shape and form and at any time that it desires. So when you let go of this old mold, then what you actually get is something that meets or exceeds your expectations. But the timing's off a little bit for you this month. I really want you to focus on finding the perfect balance in your health, in your finances, in your own person, in yourself first. Once you do that, you have multiple options coming through. By the way, it could be a Capricorn energy coming through as well. The devil's not always bad. So if you're looking for new love, it could just be Capricorn coming through. What I do see, there could be some rebound energy around this Capricorn or this new love. So just be open to that as well. No matter how you slice it, those looking for love this month, the focus should be on self first. Once you get through that balance, then you're going to be able to manifest and find things pretty fast, okay? If you're single and happy, then I think that we would focus on the butterfly here, the Two of Pentacles. Create something that's inspiring or enriching your life. Life is short. That's what the Death card is indicating here. People in your life may have disappointed you, but that doesn't mean that all people, all situations are bad. Make some plans to do things that you want to do. See the best in situations if you can. See what's out there that really kind of like, again, makes you look forward to getting up in the morning. Can you meet new people this month? Absolutely. But I feel like some of you have maybe even put down this idea that it won't work. This is also true for those of you that are looking for love. More often, I would associate this with judgment or justice, but the devil is the same thing. It can just say, I only date this age or this type of person, or I'm never going to find someone because of X, Y, or Z. Stop that. Stop that. Or even saying, I'm never going to love again. How do you know? You could say, I'm not interested in that, and that's a more powerful way of saying, I'm choosing to spend my time and energy differently. And if that's the case, kudos to you. But if you're limiting yourself because you fear or you feel like it's more frustration. Frustration kind of like combined with fear, then let go of that. That's devil energy coming through and limiting a potential for you. So just stay open. No matter how you slice it this month as well, I think that being open to what's true, being open to the possibilities, just being open is going to be a lot more satisfactory for you. Okay? We have the coffin card here in your outcome, and this is the destiny position here. So I see someone coming out of this coffin, which to me is judgment. So what we see for you is a rebirth. If we kind of go into Egyptian mythology, the preservation of the body was so that there was the Ba and the Ka, and it was basically so the two parts of the soul could exist. You needed that body for a while so you could go into the other side of, to the other dimension, into the underworld and beyond. If you destroyed it, it would be very difficult for that. So what we're seeing here is understanding that the death of one thing is the beginning of another. So Egyptians didn't fear death. In some ways, they built their whole life around the eventual death and afterlife. So there's life and then there's afterlife. So when we're looking at destiny here, it's the afterlife of whatever just passed in this life. It's not you dying and all of that. It's basically saying, I am done with this, but I'm not done. There's more. There's more. This isn't the last page of the book. It's not the end. It's the beginning. Now we're starting a fresh book. Not even a fresh chapter. It's a fresh book. So what's the next story? That's something only you can say. But the message from the guides is, you've got more chapters. You've got more books. You've got more story. So start thinking about what you want to say and what you want to do. Okay? So we're going to take a look now at the big idea. The big idea is one card that can give you maybe that sort of inspiration for what to do next. Okay, so we have a card here that shows patience, but also notice how this particular bird is fanning the flame of inspiration. So this temperance is patient, but also saying, I feel good about this. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to take one step at a time. I'm going to flap my wings one sort of step at a time as well, or one flap at a time, I guess. So what we're looking at here is everything starts with a spark. What's your spark? What is it that you're doing to sort of like feed the flame? And it doesn't have to be sort of like this massive action on your part. It can just be gentle and consistent. And pretty soon that spark becomes a fire, and that fire then you can use to sort of become almost like you're a forge, right? You're going to go into that forge and create something, but it has to start with a little spark. Okay? So create the spark, fan that flame every day. Spend a little bit of time every day creating what you want. Saying I want to do it, it's okay, and it's a step one, and I like it. But if it's all you do, I had a doctor which was way too honest once, but I said, yeah, I have a gym membership. And he said, do you use it? I was like, oh my God, you're so mean. But I thought, no, I'm not using it as much as I should. I never went back to that doctor because it was like, there was a lot of things that they said that was just way too honest. But it's something I never forgot. And so an idea is good, but what I'm going to phrase today is, what are you doing to create it? And what I would have said if I was the doctor is, how often are you truly going? Let's set up what a good schedule would be for you. I feel like I could help you become more accountable. He really wasn't a good doctor. So what I'm trying to do today is help you be accountable. Do one thing per week. I would actually say give yourself 5 minutes a day to decide to put energy into it. So that could be 5 minutes to do some research online, 5 minutes to put together, like a bullet list of things that you want to do, to create a business proposal, whatever. Work on it 5 minutes a day, or set up one afternoon or 1 hour a week, whatever works for you, but don't break that appointment. Imagine that is your most important appointment, because it is. It's an appointment with destiny. Literally, because we just talked about the destiny card. All right, so we're going to go from big ideas to blessings and blocks. Blessings and blocks, much like they sound, are things that are going to help you overcome obstacles and embrace possibilities. So let's go ahead now and pull both cards, and then we'll really see what's what. Blessing, block. All right, so let's take a look at these two cards. Your blessing card is the Four of Pentacles. It really doesn't matter how you hold this particular Four of Pentacles because it's always in the right position, but it is reversed. So let me talk about what Four of Pentacles reversed is. It's actually advantageous. So the blessing this month is in release. A traditional Four of Pentacles would show a big old coin being held here right in your heart space. There would be some other coins. Sometimes it's on the head and the other 2 feet. Doesn't matter. The one I pay attention to is the heart. And the person's holding on for dear life because they think to themselves, this is as good as it gets. If I let go of this, who am I? What will I become? What awaits me? When you release it, you think, I learned what I need to. Like, this isn't as good as it gets. I believe that there's more. I'm ready to receive more. Love and abundance in the highest forms. I'm ready. It's almost moving from the Four of Pentacles to the Ace of Cups. It's a much more receptive energy. So your blessing this month is letting go, releasing things, and saying, I know that by doing this, that I step into another portal. I mean, because, hello, that's all we got for you was release and rebirth energy. So the sooner you let it go, the better. The other thing is, people rely on you a lot more than they realize. It puts you in a position of empowerment and power itself when it comes to being able to ask for something. So if you're not getting enough, or if you're giving things away, by all means, this is the time to ask for more, to adjust your rates of exchange or your prices for your services. What's blocking you? Basically the feeling like I can do this, that sometimes it's easier to wait for others to allow the leader to step in and make the decision, but you're being encouraged to be the leader. In this case, we're looking at the horse. It's where the power is, horsepower, right? So the power in this is saying, I'm going to do it, I'm doing it, and I'm moving forward. Are you going to catch up? The chariot is behind you. Other people will catch up. So the block here would be waiting for someone else to get going. You are the horse. You could be sitting in the chariot, but the actual truth of the matter is you're a leader and you're a doer. So you're going to have to straddle the two this month. Push it forward, do a little work, wear a couple of hats. That's why the Two of Pentacles came up earlier, because it's going to be important for you to already not be overextended. If you're just at the ace at that point, then you can manage juggling some other things. But if you're already kind of like spread too thin, then it's not going to work out for you. Okay? Let's go ahead and do a reader's and a viewer's choice. And let's get the keyboard here and give you a couple choices here to look between. So let me get everything set up while we're talking. All right, so what are some things that we could look at? Well, obviously, I'm going to look at change. I mean, that's the number one thing. So aside from that, let's see if there's some other viewer's choice things that you would benefit from. So as I'm looking at everything here, I think that I want to understand the relationship message here. So seeing the truth in relationships, because that's really what it is. We could also look at power struggles. Who's in control, because that's why the chariot came through. The devil is also why it's kind of hard to take the reins, so to speak. And then the other thing here I would say is just taking action. Any advice on that? Okay, so there you go. You guys can vote on this. I'm going to dig straight into the first question that I was going to look at, which was all of these death cards. I want to sort of look at what I'm going to see. What's the advice? I think I did put that out there for you, didn't I? Let me see. Taking action. Okay, so this is different. So I want to see, why did we get the death card, another death card, judgment, and the coffin? So what is it that you need to move past? Where are you stuck? Where is the stagnation? That's the question. All right, so where's stagnation happening for you? Where does Cancer need to make a change happen? All right, so the biggest stagnation here is with respect to money. So this is the Eight of Pentacles here. Let me pull this up or close so you can see it. So with this Eight of Pentacles, sometimes I think you might have forgotten that you have the ability to create that web around you, that magnetic energy. Certain decks will use the 10 of Pentacles or the Wheel of Fortune as the spider card. I actually really love that almost universally across all the sort of modern decks, the spider's attached to money or fortune. So what you want to do is clean up your finances. So the Eight of Pentacles, if we're looking at the spider web, there are portions of a web that can get destroyed through wind, through rain, through the prey that it captures, and just it's a mess. So every day, sometimes multiple times a day, the spider has to go into that web and clean it up. So clean up your finances. Look at your debt, look at your budget, figure out how much you're putting out and bringing in, clean that portion up. The other piece of it is understanding that I create my own wealth, I create my own opportunity. If I can't see growth or an opportunity here, I'm going to make a new channel over here of something. So for many of you, this is an encouragement to maybe moonlight. So you have a main business and you're going to start up a new one before you even decide to leave the one you're in. Because the stagnation could be like, I want to land on my feet. So that's like a safety net that I'm getting with this as well. Also, when you start to save, money attracts money. So the interesting thing from what I did back 15 years ago or something, when I was at a point where I wasn't saving enough, I just stopped using my credit cards for a while and just used a debit card. And basically, whenever I pulled out the debit card or a checkbook or whatever, or cash, for that period of time, maybe for a year, I was just learning to appreciate money better. So I thought, well, wait, do I have money in the bank? So every purchase I made, I had to think, what's my balance? How much is this? And so it made me think about eating out, spending things. So I stopped eating out. I stopped buying unnecessary things. I got more frugal and more intelligent with the money because I knew what was in the bank and I didn't put too much. I kept some in savings and the rest in checking. So I understood how to balance it. So by doing that, the money started to add up. And then I was like, oh, I'm good. I can pay off this bill. So money attracts money. Wealthy and frugal. Well, frugal is kind of interesting because you don't want to be restrictive, but it's more like, no, I can do better than this. I'm going to spend this on that. So it's discerning thoughts around money will help you. Then you can be the spider with all those lovely little meals in the form of pentacles around him or her. So let the money stick. Imagine that it's coming to you and it's going to stick. You don't have to hold on for dear life. And that's the message around that. Okay. Going back to school, definitely a piece of the Eight of Pentacles. Finishing what you started, also a piece of that. So if you want to go back and get a GED or go to college or to grad school or whatever, by all means. If you have a project that you left unfinished, finish it. If you have something that you want to learn, learn it, because that's also energy with the Eight of Pentacles, which I lose in this lovely illustration. Sometimes it's good, but I have to remind myself of the traditional deck. All right, so we have two that are very close. Let me just see which one wins, and then we'll go with that one. Moving on to the viewer's choice. Let me put my glasses on. We have by 45%, seeing the truth in relationships. I think that's really a great choice for you guys to have selected. We're going to look at the devil energy. What is it about? You chose well on this one, because that would have been my question too. I want to know why the devil's coming through and how do you deal with that? So fantastic choice. Okay, so we have the Four of Wands, which is typically a really good card. So the Four of Wands has to do with commitment at the kind of like source of it or the heart of it. So Four of Wands can be you in a relationship with somebody that just always has your back. It's what I would see with like marriage, best friends, and monogamy. And what we're getting here is someone that's unwilling to commit or is falling short of the commitment that they made to you. And you see it. We have a big iris at the center of this, like an eye. So what you see is what you get with that. If somebody, remembering that, like, I had to kind of pause and think how I said it earlier, but basically if somebody is not showing up the way that they said they would, they're saying one thing and they're doing another thing, then this is foundationally damaging. So I want you to really make sure that you pay attention to that. And look around you and do a kind of like emotional audit. Who's truly your friend? Who is sort of showing up in a way that they shouldn't? This is your chance to really reestablish the foundational energies, because you have the capacity right now to bring in people that are supportive, loving, ready, and willing to be there for you in the way that you need them to be there for you, okay? So you're gonna be A-okay, but I do see someone that has broken a promise or has not kind of put you in the relationship first, and that's important. There could also just be someone that's not ready to commit. It's not the end of the world. It's not always bad. So what we're seeing here is that there's someone that loves you, but they can't give you what you're looking for, which in this case may be more commitment, more attention, or a promise. So in that case, you know that you have someone that cares, but that just can't go the extra mile. So you have to decide, is what they're giving enough? Because to expect them to change when maybe they're honest with you and just say like, no, this is as much as I can give. Even if they're limiting themselves or limiting the potential of the growth of the relationship, that's their truth. So you have to decide, is that enough? So if it is enough, great. If it isn't, the devil can also be you telling yourself it's going to be okay or that you can change them. So you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't make someone see something from your perspective until they're ready to see it. You can plant the seed, but you can't change them, okay? So I hope that helps, and I hope that answers your question. The good news with the Four of Wands is if you hold space for something higher comes through. Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. A lot of times in Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you will see those four wands and there's no couple. It's just set up for the couple to enter into. So I do see something good on the horizon for you, especially if you've been through something challenging. So don't basically demonize or hold that everyone is going to kind of be like that ex, friend, boss, lover, etc. That was one person. They're not the mold or the archetype or the prototype for everything. It's just one person. So hold space for something better, okay? And that, my friends, brings us to the exciting final portion here. We're going to go into a meditation in just a moment, and then we're going to take a look at the final card, which will be a chance for you to ask me a question about something that you care about. Today, I'm going to just speed things up a little bit, and I'm going to use the crystal pyramid, I believe, for the singing instrument here, and I'm going to get into the meditation because there's a lot of metamorphosis energy that we need to work with, so let's work with that. I'm going to kind of work us through the chrysalis of this butterfly and help us get out, because the chrysalis or the cocoon is very much like what we see with the coffin, and I think the key thing for Cancer this month is breakout. So I'm going to help you break out of limitations and that feeling of being sort of cocooned in safety so that you know that you're going to spread your wings. The best is yet to come. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. As you exhale, relax your shoulders, neck, and back, and really just allow yourself to be fully present. Whatever fear or thing that you're kind of holding on to in your mind, I want you to just kind of let that go right now and imagine that things are going to be okay, that you're ready for the next step of this journey. As you sit here for a moment, I want you to imagine that you are a butterfly chrysalis hanging upside down from a tree. And this is the day for you to be reborn. This is the day for you to feel like I'm ready. I'm ready to step into my true self. I think the important thing as we're meditating right now is for you to also understand that in order to fully realize your dream, you have to see it and believe it. So go into your heart and plant a seed of belief. And the seed of belief that is coming through from my guides is, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I believe in my dreams. And I know that I'm worth it. I'm ready to take the first step. I'm ready to receive. These simple thoughts are an act of reprogramming your heart and your mind and your body. And as you believe and as you see and as you get ready to embark upon this, you feel the wings starting to form. Imagine now that you could push at the limits of your own life, just like the caterpillar, now butterfly, pushing at the sort of edge of the chrysalis, just like the mummy coming out of the coffin to reveal this new energetic being. You're going to come out now with your wings, with your beautiful new version of yourself, and you're going to be crystal clear that it's exactly the way it should be. Everything sets you up for this moment. So as you start to open your wings, escape from the cocoon or the chrysalis, I want you just to imagine yourself drifting along in the sky as I play the singing pyramid here. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to drift to your desired destination. See your mind, your body, and your spirit as brighter and lighter than they were before. And continue to repeat that mantra, I believe, and I am ready. I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms. Moving off that energy of clarity, I want you to focus on your final question that you have for me so that we can get an answer to that for you. All right, so we have the Ace of Cups, which to me would be an emphatic yes for many of you. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the Ace of Cups in reverse is a yes. There is a big caveat with it, which is being discerning. There's still a lesson with that for you that's coming through. The Cups reverse is sometimes putting others' needs above yours. And one thing that I think is really important right now is to make sure that you're an equal participant. The Two of Cups doesn't have one lever with a cup up and one with a cup down, does it? It has two cups upright. The Ace of Cups generally is upright. So when it's reversed, there's one thing that you need to release or let go of in order to allow this to come through. Choose happiness, choose fulfillment, and allow yourself to be an equal party at the bargaining table, at the Two of Cups moment of exchange. Equal exchange is necessary. Yes, new love can come through right now, but are you ready to receive it is the question. Make sure that you're happy, make sure that they're happy. But I'll take an Ace of Cups any day. It does show happiness, new relationship opportunities and energies, and it does show satisfaction. It's opportunity, but there's a heart component to it that needs to be fulfilled. So something needs to be sweetened just a little bit for you to be ready for that, okay? All right, I am on a schedule today, so I'm going to do my best to say thank you here at the end to all of you that gave back. So give me just a moment, and I'm going to welcome any of the new members that came through today, and then anybody that gave back, and then I'm going to wrap up on time. So first things first, let me begin with the new members. I just want to say thank you. All right, so for those of you that just joined today, looks like we have Kathy. I can't say your last name. I'm just going to say Kathy C. Thank you so much. Cephas, maybe? Thank you for rejoining. Andrea Popescu, I think it is. Thank you for rejoining and for being a member for 28 months. That's amazing. Kitty Cat Black, thank you for 7 months of membership and rejoining as well. Fire for 8 months of membership. Joan Carter Thompson, brand new channel member, welcome. Jen Pilot, a star channel member, thank you for that extra bit and for joining. And I think that's everyone from the last couple of days. If I missed anyone, I know Maria caught it, so thank you so much. Also, I'd like to say thanks to those of you that gave back in the form of super sticker or super chat. And today we have just a few, so this should be pretty fast. So thank you to Let's see. Corey reads books. I think that's how it is. Thank you so much for kicking things off today. Becky Ryan, much appreciation to you as well. Diane Sardoni or Sardone, thank you very much. And Rachel Bruno, I appreciate your contribution today as well. And I think I got everybody. Special thanks. And again, if you want to continue to do that as I'm wrapping up, you can. This allows me to continue to buy new decks to show up. And you can always hit the super thanks option, which is right near share on replay. Again, consider hitting like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. You can get more information on my website, and you can follow me across social media. In the meantime, I will be back again tomorrow. Let's see, I just did Cancer, so I'll be doing Leo tomorrow, and I'll be back on Sunday. I hope to see you, and I really appreciate your time here today. Thanks again to Maria for your help with moderation. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.